And I think this is where the nerves start to creep in, because on your taper, you know it's the end of the road. The next thing to come is your marathon. So you really start reflecting on whether you have done as much as you can. And in my case, I often doubt myself and I am getting a bit nervous about the day, but I know that's because I have worked hard. Could I have worked harder? So this week I'm on week 2 of my 3-week taper for the Pisa marathon. Taper period is a very, very strange time because marathon training takes you up. It culminates in peak week, which is where you run the most miles of a week. And then after you have reached the pinnacle of marathon training, you then taper down for a number of weeks to make sure that you are rested come race day. So for me, my taper period is 3 weeks, and it is definitely feeling a little bit strange. Last week, the week after I finished peak week, the first week of my taper, I was absolutely flying. I just felt really strong. I mean, I definitely felt tired, but I think I was still on a high from peak week. So even though I'd started my taper, I think just the relative decrease in miles from peak week to taper, I just felt really, really good. But this week, it's been a little bit harder. I think the exhaustion, I think the fatigue from marathon training has definitely caught up with me, and I have struggled a little bit this week. I've managed just to push out the easy miles, churning them out, but it's definitely felt a lot harder, and I'm really, really happy that I have a 3rd week of my taper, because if you only had 2 weeks and I had to run a marathon on Sunday, then I would be a little bit worried that I wasn't fully rested. But I think I'm gonna allow myself to just feel the way that I'm feeling this week, and then knowing that I have another 3rd week coming up, that should hopefully make sure that I'm fully rested. And then on the 17th of December, which is the Sunday, I will be in Pisa ready to run the marathon, and the theory goes I will be feeling fully rested and good to go come race day. So the taper is going really, really well. I think I'm feeling all the things that I should be feeling at this point in time. It's one of those things where it feels like you should be doing more. It feels like you're losing fitness, but you're not. It's just relative to the miles that you were running during the peak of your training. You're just doing a lot less, and that is deliberate so that you can make sure that you're fully rested and your body is good to go come race day. But it does feel a little bit odd. It does feel like you're not doing enough, but you just have to trust that process. So I have to remind myself that I just need to trust the process. There is a plan, there is a grand vision behind what I'm doing, and the taper period always feels like this. I think one of the hardest things is that where you're really tired and where you're noticeably not running the number of miles that you were, it really does feel like you're losing fitness, or that your ability isn't as strong as it was. But it takes an incredibly long time to actually lose fitness. And the reality is I'm not losing fitness. My body is just recovering, and I need to go through this phase so that next week, when it's super easy, it's the week of the marathon, I know that when I line up at that start line, I can perform at my best. So one of the things that I'm doing to help me through the taper period is eating a lot, specifically a lot of clean whole carbohydrates. I'm not gonna lie, I am eating other stuff, chocolate, sweets, and I'm giving into the cravings. I'm just giving my body what it needs. Taper is all about self-preservation. So it's all about resting, it's all about stretching, it's all about sleeping, and it's just about preserving your body, not getting into contact with any colleagues who've got COVID. Oh, that is a big, big no. Trying to avoid people who you feel are sick or might help you to get sick. So it's one of those things which is just about self-preservation. So I'm eating a lot of food. I am giving my body everything it needs. I'm giving into cravings, and I'm making sure that I am topping up my glycogen levels. I'm feeling as fueled and ready to go. And also, on the odd occasion during taper, when I do wake up feeling really, really tired, I just let myself sleep in, which I obviously wouldn't do during the peak of training because I have to get the miles in. Whereas now the switch is not on getting the miles in, it's on resting. So if my body needs to sleep in a little bit more, even though I like to keep to the same schedule, I will allow myself to do that because I know that's my body's way of telling me it needs to rest. So the focus changes from pushing the miles, pushing the intensity, pushing your fitness, to knowing that you've done all that you can, and now it's time to meet your destiny and trust that everything you have done, you've done enough. And I think this is where the nerves start to creep in, because on your taper, you know it's the end of the road. The next thing to come is your marathon. So you really start reflecting on whether you have done as much as you can. And in my case, I often doubt myself and I am getting a bit nervous about the day, but I know that's because I have worked hard. Could I have worked harder? I honestly think no. Based on where I am at the moment in my journey, I don't think I could have worked any harder. Can I work harder in the future when I get to a point in time where I'm stronger? Absolutely. And if anything, this training block has taught me what I am capable of, and I think there's some really exciting plans in 2024 that we're going to make the most of, and I really want to use this as a benchmark to then progress in 2024. But I think for this training block, could I have trained any harder with everything else I have going on, which a lot of people often forget when it comes to marathon training? And I think the answer is no. So as long as you can look back on your training, as long as you can feel like you put in every last bit of effort, then that's all you can do, because the final 10 kilometers of a marathon is the most humbling experience ever, and you will know in that moment, you'll have like a flashback of your whole life when you're questioning yourself, why am I doing this? You will know if you have put in all the work, because the universe in that moment serves up everything you deserve. And I think I couldn't have done too much more than I did, so I'm going to be proud of that. And yeah, one more week of taper, Pisa Marathon on Sunday the 17th. I've got Phil coming out with me, so I'm really, really excited just to get it done now. I just need to switch to the mindset that I'm going to need to cultivate on the day. I need to channel the way that I'm going to breathe, the way that I'm going to perform, execute my pre-race strategy. And as long as my mindset and my head is in the game on the day, I really don't think too much can go wrong. I'm going to be proud of whatever happens, and I'm going to set a really strong base going into 2024. So nice and short video this week, guys. Just a quick update on how the taper is going. The next thing is going to be the Pisa Marathon. Let's fucking do it.